You're not even on the camera, it's just on me. Okay.
Okay, so Brother John, can you please tell me where were you born?
In Durban.
And what area and suburb did you live in Durban?
Well, I was 5 years old when I left there, but I was, my baptism certificates was from Bel Air.
Okay, and then from there, where did you go to?
In 1947, before, January, that was while I was still 6 years old, went to Nazareth House in Johannesburg.
Okay, and how long did you stay there at Nazareth House?
From that 47 to 53, I think, 54.
Okay.
And after that, Father Osmond took me out for more advanced studies, and I had to go to Marist Brothers and stay with his parents.
Is that the Father Osmond who became Bishop Osmond?
Yes, that's the same Osmond.
So the Bishop of Johannesburg.
But he was father. He was a newly ordained father then.
Okay. And then you mentioned something once upon a time about Boys Town.
Yes, as I say, he took me about 1953, so I was there. Then 1957, another 7 boys came.
Okay.
They also stayed with his parents and went to Marist Brothers. So I was in Marist Brothers from standard 6 to standard 10.
Okay.
See, then of course these others, we were 9 of us staying with his parents in 1957.
Yo, that's a lot to be staying with.
So they had a lot to look after. Yes.
And then after, what was Boys Town like?
Boys Town, now as I say, like I was the first one, okay, before it even started. Then in 1957 there were 9 of us, but Boys Town only started officially in 1958. And I was about 28 boys then. So, but I never went to Boys Town. I was with his parents still in that year, but I used to go weekends and on and off there and holidays. And then in 1959, I was still around. Yes, in 1959 I spent a year in Boys Town doing matric by correspondence. See, so 1959 I was 19. And then...
what was the purpose of Boys Town?
Mainly orphans, Father, this was Boys Town in America, you know about that, and this priest in America used to go to courts and save boys from going to jail for one thing or another. He reckoned all boys were good. So he started Boys Town in America, and after that Father Osmond wanted to start Boys Town on the same, let's call it, for incorrigible, naughty boys mainly, but what he mostly had was orphans, like I was. Never had a mother, and so I was orphaned myself, my brother and my sister, and then, as I say, there were 9 of us in 1957, there was 28 in 1958, then I spent a year there in 1959, and then my idea then why he had me is because I intended to be a priest.
Okay.
But when I wrote matric, it was this private school, the JMB, Joint Matriculation Board. And when the results came out in the paper, and I didn't see my name, so I thought I'd failed. You know, and then not realizing then that the names in the paper are the government schools, not the private schools. So I went out to work, and I worked in various jobs. I started in office work mostly, and through my life I did office work, I did sales, and road work, and I did factory work.
If I remember properly, you said you had about 43 different jobs.
Yes, some jobs I'd go to one day and then decide, no, it's not a job, I'll not go back the next day. See that? So two of my jobs I think only lasted one day like that. I was in and out factories and different things. And when I was in my 40s, I don't know, I got to middle age, what you call it, got to think now, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? I can't keep switching. And then I went through all the different jobs I'd been to. No, I don't want that, I don't want that. What did I start with at school? Oh, at school I wanted to be a priest. And I thought, I wonder if I could still go in for that. I should have been. So I went to speak to my parish priest, and he said, at your age now, in so many years and that, take a good while to think about it, take a year off. And then I went to Father Osmond, you know, at this time I was living in Edenvale. And so I went to Father Osmond in Boys Town to speak to him. He said, I must just follow what my parish priest said, you know, take a year off and pray about it. So that year I was just praying about it, you know, I was still working. Towards the end of the year I went on a retreat with the Cathedral Parish people to Laverne. And this was my first view of a Franciscan in a habit, Father Sam. You know, and he was an old priest, something like I am now.
Was that Father Sam Handley?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was speaking to him, and I said, asked him, are you retired yet? So he looked at me with disgust. Because I didn't know then that Franciscans don't retire. But anyway, there was a little notice on a church door there, small little notice there. Have you ever thought about becoming a Franciscan as a priest or a brother? And I saw this and I thought, that's a good idea. If I can't get through the studies for priesthood, at least I can become a brother. And that's how I got there. And I spoke to the priest there, and he said, go speak to Father Stan Brennan, who was the nearest to me, because I was staying in Edenvale at the time, and Father Stan in Boxburg was kind of the nearest. And so he arranged for me to come in.
So after 43 different jobs, you finally settled down with the Franciscans.
Yes, this is the longest job I've had.
And do you feel happy and fulfilled as a Franciscan?
Happy?
Yes.
I don't feel unhappy. I don't feel like jumping for joy. My body's old now, it doesn't want to jump anymore. But no, I'm quite satisfied, and because I get most of my joy and pleasure with my meditations and contemplations, and you know, with Jesus. So that being deaf, I don't have good communication with others, because I don't hear them. They get frustrated with me not hearing them. And so I got more time to spend on my own contemplating.
Can you explain to me, please, what is contemplation or meditation?
I look at it as 3 ways. Is prayer, you know, which you say aloud or say in your mind, you know. And there's meditation when you actually like do a reading and think about the reading or the prayer and that. And then contemplation, you don't think about anything. You just let the presence of God be there without having to make pictures and use your imagination or anything. It's just purely spiritually inside.
Do you think that your deafness has helped you to pray better?
Oh yes, much more often. Sometimes when there's a group of people, they're all talking and I don't know what's being said at all, I can go to pray. At least Jesus hears me.
So, if you had to make a choice again and start all over again, would you still choose the Franciscans?
I wouldn't know the Franciscans if I had to start over again. But if I had known them, yes, probably. Because as I say, to be a brother, the final day before the next confession, I'd be the only boy going, and the other boys said I wanted to be a priest, and I said I don't have to say anything. So the idea of becoming a priest was put into my head by the other boys.
Can you please tell me what's special about being a Franciscan brother?
Number one, you're with the church all the time, you're with God all the time, with Jesus all the time, with all the time for prayers and things like that. That's the prayer life is the most important part. Okay, the ordinary life. I go to different places, I do different jobs according to my experiences at work and all that. I mean, 42 different jobs. It helps me to do, like when I was in the crowd, and at Besters, and I used to do a lot of work, and I did so much there, and I hear people talking down there about how busy I was. Yeah, I'm not so busy as I was there. Anyway, all the experiences I had helped me as a brother to do various things for the brotherhood. See, that's the one thing, that's about the personal side. But to me, all the friars, we are all brothers and very close to each other, and I look at all other friars as close relatives, you know, being brotherhood. So that I'm quite safe with them, I'm looked after by them, and I look after them, and I look after the way of life and that.
Can you tell me what you particularly like about St. Francis of Assisi?
What do I think about St. Francis?
What do you particularly like about him?
Sorry, I've got to think about that in a way.
Or if you could mention for you a favourite episode in the life of St. Francis that you find particularly attractive.
No, I think his prayer life, you know, his communication with God, and that the he wasn't the saint that I was kind of very close to at the time. I just got to grow with him as time went on, and I'd say, to me, all saints are my brothers in Jesus. See, and St. Francis is one of my brothers in Jesus. And I look at all saints as very close. And angels too. And my own guardian angel. I mentioned to you, gave my angel the name Carol. So sometimes I speak to my angel, call it Carol.
And then I know you have a particular interest in science and physics and the cosmos. Can you say something about that? Has that helped you to love God?
God is infinite, you know, and in all directions. Where the cosmos is kind of infinite, because our galaxy has got millions of stars, millions of kilometers, light years, and then beyond that is other billions of other galaxies. And I said, billions? Look around. There's millions of stars, and outside in other galaxies there's billions of galaxies. And I think, but if our galaxy is so big and there's so many millions of stars and there's so many billions of galaxies, how did God create all this? And so it gave me more of an idea of His infinity. The more my mind went back, and my view of the universe went further and further out, and then I wondered, what's beyond the last stars and that? And I never actually found out anybody asking that question, what is beyond the last cosmos, the last universe? And the thought came to my mind that there's nothing. Okay, with the last one, there's nothing, because there's no more. No, after the billions and billions and billions of galaxies. And I thought, but how can there be nothing? What about the lights from those last ones? Okay, they go out, but that's we only a certain distance. What's beyond that? Just empty space. So I had to ask myself, what is empty space? It's nothing. So nothing can be nothing. So it's just the presence of God everywhere. You know, so.
And then, what would you say to young men today to encourage them to become a Franciscan brother?
I tell them the most important thing in life is your future life. In this life you live for maybe 60 years or 80 years or at the most, and then you go somewhere for millions of years. Our cosmos is 14,000 million years. So how long will you be in heaven or somewhere else? You know, 14,000 million years again. So being a brother, being a Franciscan, and working with the church and being close to the, following your prayer life and developing your own spirituality helps you to think about the future after you pass on. For the next 14,000 million years, you want to be somewhere good, and this is why the prayer life is very important for anybody to think about what's going to happen to them when they pass on.
Is there anything else important that you feel you need to say?
You'd have to repeat that.
Is there anything else that you would like to say which you feel is important?
What I feel is important? Regarding what?
Anything.
I'd say divide my life into my spiritual side and my physical side. So what is important, okay, for a youngster, for anybody in that, is to live a spiritual life, you know, to do the readings, you know, the office of readings and morning, evening, and there's 7 times a day, and to go to Mass every day, and go to communion, to actually receive Jesus. That when I preach or I talk to people at all about the Blessed Eucharist and about the real presence of Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, and it's important to receive Him personally, because He is God and there's only one God. You don't just receive Jesus, you receive the Father, Son and Holy Spirit, because they are one God. And then briefly in the prayers, all the prayers, first of all they develop a love for God and for Jesus, okay? Then they follow the laws of Jesus and tell the 2 greater sacraments that Jesus says is to love God and love your neighbour. So your neighbour is, and your brothers, of course, are the closest to love. But then that's loving all other neighbours, so that's even your enemies, if you have enemies. We don't usually have enemies. I don't have any at the moment. Anyway, Jesus says to love them all. And when I pray, and I go to communion and I say prayers, I don't just think of it as me, although so many of the hymns as I, and me, and all that. And I think of, oh wow, so many of the hymns are so personal like that. When you're praying, it's not just you, it's everybody that's... So all these other people go into Holy Communion, receiving the same Jesus as I have received. How close we are one, see? So we talk about Jesus asking us to love our neighbours, so love all these other people that also into communion the way I did. Then I think about all the people in the whole world who into communion that I'm one with. And then I think about everyone, whether they're Catholics, Muslims or anything, we're all brothers. So I make myself one with everyone. That even the Muslims and Buddhists and non-Catholics or whatever, I've still got brotherly love for them all, because that's what Jesus wants.
Thank you very much, Brother John, for sharing all your very personal and intimate experiences.